This instructional video is to help you organize your life using the Chrome browser, using the Halton Cloud. This is really useful for keeping your work and personal browsing stuff separate. If you use a personal machine, then you can have multiple IDs put in, or if you use a Chromebook, then you can have all your information from the Chromebook synced to your personal instance of Chrome, or even on a board one. So to start, I open up Chrome, and I don't have anyone signed in here right now, and you'll notice it says setup Chrome, and if I click on this little person in the top right corner here, this guy right up here, it says you, and you is in reference to whoever is using this computer. This is like the default session information for this machine. So anytime I open Chrome on this machine, anything I save here will just be saved to this you ID if I don't sign in. Of course, you don't have to sign in if it's like your computer and you don't want to sign in. Of course, you don't have to, but I like to keep my lives distinct, so I'm going to sign into my Halton Cloud ID for Chrome, and enter in my password, and now it's going to import any apps, bookmarks, history, passwords, and other settings that I've specified as my preference in another instance of Chrome where I've signed in using this profile, including anything on a Chromebook. So I just click link data, because it'll bring in everything like form submission history. If I've left myself signed into Gmail or to Google Drive, it'll remember that I did that. There's my bookmarks that just came in, synced from wherever I saved them from. I can't even tell you what machine I used it on. It's because it's locked into this ID that's now says Mr. Shaft. If you want to change what the display name is, oops, that's an extension installing, you can just click on that name and click on it right here. It says a little pencil means you can edit it, and I can change it to say anything I want. This is just so I can tell the difference between Mr. Shaft and my personal ID, which is Danny. So the most useful aspect of this is now, if it's not already here, this little apps icon, if I can right click anywhere on the bookmarks bar and make sure this show apps shortcut is selected, and then this little icon here for apps is selected, and if I click on it, it takes me right to my apps. So my Gmail app, my Google Groups app, my Classroom app, my Google Drive app, a bunch of apps I don't use. Let's just remove this one because I don't care for it. Yeah, remove it, I don't need it. My Google Docs, the Google Chrome Web Store, another app that I don't need. It's really easy to add in apps and take them away too. And so there's another page with more apps that I like to use. And if I want to add more, I can just click on the Google Chrome Web Store, and this works just like you're on your iPhone or Android device, but this is for Chrome specific apps. So if you don't have Gmail installed, you can search for Gmail, and you hit enter, and there it is, the Gmail Chrome app, and it would say add to Chrome if it wasn't already there, so I click on it and it says you sure you want to install this, and it'll pop up and I say yes, and it does it, and it's really, really simple. So this is great because now I have everything I need, right? If you want to check your groups, you go to groups. You want to check Gmail, you go to Gmail. You want to go to Google Drive, go to Google Drive. And the first time I open this up, it is the default board setting, which is taking you to your Google Drive and the secondary internet tools, Halton specific website, and my Google Drive. That's the default ones, and so you can use the waffle in here to get to your apps for Google, or you can use the apps bookmark up here, which is really useful. I like this one better because everything's nice and big and lets me access all the stuff that I like to access in a nice big icon-y kind of way. Now if I want to use my personal ID, not during board time of course, or on a board machine, but if I click on the name up here, I can say switch person. This is also useful if someone else wants to use your machine for a little bit. You click add person, and then I can add in another ID. So this can be a completely separate set of bookmarks, forms, submission history, or just browsing history, what have you. Another Google Active ID. And it'll also bring in all the extensions I use. So again, this is for my home use, so it's got the stuff that I would never use at work, like Netflix or whatever, as my bookmarks, and it'll import all that information. Now if I want to switch between people, you'll notice when I just opened up this switch person, it opened up a new window. So over here on the left, is my board one, and over here on the right with a little display picture that I synchronized to my other ID is my personal one. It's still installing apps and stuff, and notice the name is different too. So if this wasn't open and I wanted to switch to that person that's now saved to this computer, I can click on here and say switch person, and it goes, oh, you have this other ID here, do you want to use it? And I say yes, and it opens up a brand new window without closing or interfering with the one I already had open. That's my personal use one. You can also do a quick switch by right-clicking on the name, and there's my other ID, so it just switches, and if I already have an instance of that ID open, like I do, it'll just switch over to that other window. If you close everything down, the last one that you close is the first one that'll open when you open Chrome up again. So I close everything down, click on Chrome, and it brings me back to the last one closed, which is Mr. Shaft. And if I right click again, I can get to my personal one, and there it is. And like the useful part about this is that if I go to Gmail for my personal one, it's my personal Gmail. If I go to Gmail from my board one, it's my board Gmail, and I've saved the passwords and left myself logged in on both so that I can access them quickly without having to sign into 100 things. Now let's say you're doing this on a machine that you don't want your information remembered on and you want to remove yourself. Well, the way you can do that is you go to the settings, these little lines here on the right hand side of Chrome, and I go down to settings here, and down here at the bottom there's a list of people saved to this machine. Now this is saved into Chrome on the machine, so if I don't want my personal one here anymore, I just select it and click remove, and it goes, are you sure? And I say yep, remove it. So now my personal ID one is no longer attached, and if I'm using, like, let's say a machine that has a public version of Chrome that I don't want other people to get access to, I can also select my Mr. Shaft one and remove it, and I don't have to be afraid to remove this because it's saying, are you sure you want to remove this and all the Chrome data from the computer? And I don't mind because the data is not saved on the computer. My history and forums and bookmarks and stuff are all saved to the Halton cloud attached to that ID, so I can sign in at any time I want and get all that information back. So this is really greatly useful, helps me keep my life nice and organized, and I hope you found it useful.